Hello everyone, welcome to Barca News. It is September 17th, 2024, and it's been revealed that Barcelona actually don't have a buyback clause in Vitor Roque's contract. Also, Barcelona have identified another young promising talent which they have invited to train at La Masia. And finally, it's reported that Xavi Hernandez is hurt by Pedri's statements. We have a lot to discuss. So let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo. And before we begin with the news, just a quick reminder to make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment. All of this helps this channel continue to grow. Also, if you are looking for any Barcelona jerseys or merchandise, including Barcelona's third kit, make sure you hit the goal kit, skip bag, or fanatics. And if you are looking to place any sports bets, make sure you hit the bet us. All links are down below in the description. Now, begin with the news that it's been revealed that Vitor Roque's contract does not contain a buyback clause as it was initially reported. Now, Vitor Roque has joined Real Betis on a 2-season loan. To be more specific, it's a 1-season loan with an option to extend it for a second if Vitor Roque meets some certain metrics like minutes played. And it was initially thought that in this 2-season loan contract, Barcelona had retained a buyback clause, but it's now been revealed that that is not the case. Now, once the 1-season loan is over, Barcelona could recall Vitor Roque free of charge. However, if they choose not to, and if Roque ends up spending a second season on loan at Real Betis could always activate the clause, the option to buy him for 27.5 million euros, which would only give them the rights to 80% of the player. Now, Barcelona did this because they paid 30 million for Roque. So if Real Betis activate, the option to buy, they paid 27.5. Barcelona would still own 20%, and then Real Betis sells them in the future, they would get 20% of that. So that way Barcelona could recover their entire 30 million, plus maybe some profit, depending on how much the value of the player goes up. But the weird thing is that it's been revealed that there is no buyback clause in the contract. And I say it's strange because let's not forget when Barcelona signed Vitor Roque, they signed him with the promise that he was the next best thing out of Brazil, that he was going to be the natural substitute of Lewandowski. So if the club truly believed that, why didn't they reserve a buyback clause? I don't understand. But I think Deco and Laporta still owe us plenty of explanations as far as Vitor Roque. I've talked about this in previous videos. They owe us the explanation on if Roque truly was that good, why didn't they give him the chance to shine? And if he's not that good, why did Barcelona spend all that money on signing him? And now we need the explanation of why didn't they retain a buyback clause? We'll see if one day we will get the answers. But speaking of signings, speaking of young players, young talented players, Barcelona have identified a new emerging talent out of Mexico, which they have invited to La Masia. Now, the player we're talking about, his name is Gilberto Mora. He's a 15-year-old Mexican attacking midfielder. He currently plays for Club Tijuana and La Liga MX, which is the league in Mexico. And he's already played 4 matches in first division of La Liga MX. And in fact, he has become the youngest goal scorer in La Liga MX. So definitely an incredibly promising player, only 15 years old. And it's reported that Barcelona have already invited him to come to Barcelona and train at La Masia. Now, the player still hasn't approved this because he needs the permission of his parents because he is a minor, he's only 15. So Barcelona are awaiting the green light from the parents, but if that goes through, then Barcelona would have discovered yet another young promising player who, again, they are inviting to the academy so he can train there and see, who knows, maybe Barcelona could end up signing him. Now we will end today's video with the news that it's reported that Xavi Hernandez is upset, is hurt by the statements of Pedri. Now you might wonder, what statements are you talking about, Mo? Well, some of these statements I covered in the past, and there's also new statements. But let's start with the statements that Pedri said previously, which I already covered in the video. But Pedri said, we're putting in a lot more effort at the club than before. I think the new physical trainers are really benefiting us. We're working really hard, and it shows in our performance. The team doesn't slow down after the 70th or 80th minute. We maintain our physical level. Now, these were the statements that Pedri had initially made. I think it was last week. But after the match against Girona this past weekend, in the post-match interview, Pedri made even more statements in regards to like the comparison between now and before. And this is what the Barcelona midfielder had to say. I feel liberated. I think Flick has also conveyed that to me, to play without pressure, to do what I know how to do, and I feel much more relaxed. So these were the new statements that Pedri made. Initially talking about how, you know, the condition is much better now than before, and now talking about how Flick has more liberated him even more. And it's reported that Xavi Hernandez feels hurt by these statements. This was leaked by his entourage. They leaked it to the media saying that Xavi felt hurt because he always believed in Pedri, that he trusted Pedri fully, that he had put Pedri on kind of the untransferable list, that he considered him a pillar or a cornerstone of his team, and that he's hurt to hear those statements from a player that, you know, he always valued so much. And Xavi's entourage are also saying that Xavi believes that the reason Pedri is saying this is because some insider influence, more specifically Alejandro Echevarría. If you don't know who Echevarría is, he is the former brother-in-law of Joan Laporta, which Joan Laporta has brought him into the club kind of as a consultant, if you may, who has a lot of power also within the club, something I've criticized in the past because this guy doesn't have an official position. He's just there. Why is he there? What is this? This is not your mom and pop bodega where you can just bring your family members and have them work there. I don't like that whatsoever. But we know that Echevarría was one of the main reasons, or one of the people that suggested to Laporta to sack Xavi Hernandez. So they're saying that Xavi believes that it's actually Alejandro Echevarría who's kind of like whispering in Pedri's ear and causing this rift between the two. Now, Pedri has denied that there's anything bad between him and Xavi, that there's no rift, or at least on his behalf, he doesn't have any animosity against Xavi. And I honestly believe it. I don't think Pedri made these statements because he was trying to get back at Xavi or take a dig at him. I think he was just trying to give a compliment to the new coach. All players do this. In fact, Pedri himself said similar statements when Xavi was first hired. Lewandowski, when he arrived at the club, he also said something similar, where he said he had never seen such intense training before. So I think this was just Pedri trying to give a compliment to the new coach, not that he was trying to take a dig at Xavi. But I do have to talk about one important thing, and it's like, I think we're starting to get way too wrapped up in the whole conditioning argument, where somehow there's this argument that before conditioning was so horrible and that's why Xavi failed, but now the conditioning is so great and this is why Flick is succeeding. And I have to say that's not true, or at least in my opinion, that's not true at all. I mean, is conditioning now better than before? Maybe. After all, there were matches last season where the team would slow down after the 60th or 70th minute. But on the other hand, many of the matches that Barcelona won were in the final 10 to 20 minutes. So you can also make the argument that way. So you can make the argument either way, where you can say conditioning was worse back then, or you can say conditioning is the same. But either way you want to frame it, either way you want to look at it, I think it's very important to understand that conditioning was not the problem of the last season. The reason why Barcelona did not play well last season was the lack of ideas, where the team did not have an identity, did not know what to do. And that was very evident on the field, because whenever the team had the ball, they didn't know what to do with the ball. They didn't know what plays to run. The players did not know what runs to make. And as such, whoever had the ball was only left with the option of making a side pass, maybe a back pass, because there was no one open. And that is why Barcelona failed. Now under Flick, that has completely changed. Now we have a team that has an identity, that has a style of play, where the team knows what kind of plays to run, where the players know what kind of runs to make. So as such, whoever has the ball, whether it's Pedri, Cazador, or whomever, they have plenty of options to make passes because there are plenty of players who are open. And this has caused the team to become highly unpredictable, where Barcelona are attacking through the right, through the left, through the middle, where everybody's scoring goals, Lewandowski, Rafinha, Lamine, Dani Olmo, Pedri. So now teams don't know how to defend against Barcelona. They don't know if the attack is going to come from the right. They don't know if that attack is going to come from the left or the middle. They don't know who's going to score, because before Lewandowski was the only player who was scoring. So it was pretty easy to mark him. Just put 2 players on him, done. Nobody's scoring now. Now everybody's scoring. So who do you mark, right? And that is why Flick's Barcelona is now succeeding. It's not because all of a sudden all the players are running more and more. It's because now the team has an identity and a style of play. After all, this is football. This is not track and field. You don't win just because you ran more and you ran faster. You win because you impose yourself on the opponent, tactically speaking. If that was the case, if just whoever runs more wins, anybody could become Barcelona's coach. I could become Barcelona's coach. You know, during trainings, I'll be like, all right, guys, today we're running laps for 3 hours. Boom. Best conditioning ever. On match day, okay, guys, don't worry. Just go out there and run. Boom. I just won myself a 6-tuple. Of course, that's not how you win matches. That's not how you become a good coach, right? Also, if running was the problem, if conditioning was the problem, then the solution would have been pretty easy, right? Keep Xavi, but replace his conditioning staff. Problem solved. But if had that happened, I guarantee you that we would still be playing pretty bad. And finally, saying that the conditioning was the only thing that has changed, you're not doing any favors to Flick. All you're doing is undermining his work, because you're saying that the only thing Flick changed was that players now run more laps. And that's not the case. What Flick has done has completely transformed how the team plays, and he has done it in such a short period of time. It has nothing to do with conditioning. So stop undermining his work, and we need to start appreciating more what he has done. I think that conditioning is more of a lazy explanation where, you know, okay, before things didn't work, now it does. I don't know what it is, so I'm just gonna blame it on conditioning. That's not the case. The problem before was way more complex than that. The solution right now is way more complex than that. So I think we have to be a little bit more of critical thinkers about what changed, rather than just blame everything on conditioning, because that was not Barcelona's main problem. Anyways, that is all the news for this video. Thank you for tuning in. I did post a video a few moments ago, so make sure you check it out. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, peace, Barca.